This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about the Kansas Farm Management Association with Kyle Bauer and Kevin Herbel.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Kevin Herbel. He's with Kansas Farm Management. We got to talking about cow herds. And of course, when you talk about Kansas, you talk about cattle. And certainly cow herds vary all over this state. But you have some data gathered that basically shows there is some commonality, whether they're north, south, east, west, big or small.
That is correct. We've been collecting information on cow herd enterprise analysis for quite a number of years and beginning to take that data and use it to look at what is it that are the management factors that are most important for farms that are more profitable than others.
Well, as you've gathered that data, that's from your members that you've gathered that from?
That's correct. This is from members of the Kansas Farm Management Association program, and these are farms that have a cow herd but have also kept their records in order such that they can manage the enterprise records and not just the whole farm records that they have in place.
You know, that's one thing that I'm always amazed at with cattle is your farm with a cow-calf could look completely different than mine, and neither one of them are particularly wrong.
Well, it can be quite different, and I guess maybe the definition of right or wrong would be, is it accomplishing the goals and objectives you have? Are you accomplishing the purposes you're trying to achieve? And when we look at these farms, one of the things we do when we do the enterprise comparisons is go across a 5-year period of time so that any 1 year, whether it's a weather event, whether it's, whatever might happen to come in and affect that farm, we take it over this longer period to remove those. But the difference from the high profit farms to the low profit farms is more than $400 a cow.
Wow, that's amazing. So there's got to be several factors that affect that.
There are numerous factors affecting it. Some of them are income related. Certainly the pound of calf that you wean off of your cows, the size of those cows, the cost to feed them, how you go about feeding them, health management, many different factors all enter into how that profitability looks.
So I'm going to start a cow herd tomorrow. You're going to tell me what I need to do to be that high income person. Tell me what I need to do.
Well, hopefully you're starting the cow herd with some sort of equity to put into it to begin with, because certainly one of the differences is interest cost. So a farm with a lot of borrowed money toward operating that cow herd is going to be at a disadvantage. So having a lot of debt to pay is a negative in the standpoint there. How you manage the feeding of those animals is very important. The most profitable cow herds tend toward having certainly lower feed costs, but a larger share of their feed costs are grazing. So they're doing a larger extent of the feed that those cows are consuming. The cows are doing the harvesting themselves.
So grazing year round is probably the best I could do.
Well, I think within that, it's going to always come back to managing the resources that you have. So if you have resources that you can utilize to graze year round, that's going to be best. If you're in a situation where you don't have the availability of that to you, then it's going to be a matter of taking those resources you do have and acting in a way that manages them most efficiently.
Is there a size of herd that's best?
As far as
profitability?
As far as number of cows, it tends toward larger cow herds having more profitability. That's not always a fixed measurement in there. We do have some of the smaller cow herds, not the extremely small ones, but there's some smaller cow herds down at the 50 and 60 cow range that are showing some of the same profit factors that are shown on some of the larger cow herds. But there certainly is a tendency toward larger profits with larger cow herds.
And the one last thing, because you gave it to me with your eyebrows, is there a size of the cow that makes a difference?
And I think within that, there isn't necessarily a size of cow. One of the things I mentioned earlier was managing the resources that you have available. The operations, the producers, the managers that are doing best are the ones that know and understand the resources they have available to them, and they manage within those resources to reach the most profitable point.
Visiting with Kevin Herbel. He's with Kansas Farm Management. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. He said, well, I have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.